Well, I mean, leaving home. I mean, that sort of I assume alludes to constant touring and like.
Yeah, which is funny
you
because I
seem
know
like you tour constantly.
now I am. Yeah, I think I tour more now after I wrote the record than before I wrote the record. So that's why I think it's kind of funny. For this album, this song called "Leaving Home," and then I didn't really leave home very much. I only went to like New Jersey to do body piercing and stuff like that. But then after the album came out, I left home more often than anything else. So it's kind of ironic.
3 Fat Pills.
Yeah.
That's a heavy tune, man.
It's a heavy one.
What the hell?
It's in high school and after high school, I was a body piercer, and I had a lot of experiences where older ladies come in, divorced mothers, this and that. They always come into the shop and they always want certain things pierced, and they always try to play games with the young little buck. They want to have fun. So that's basically what that song's about. It's kind of a fact and fiction kind of song, right? I definitely did exaggerate the story a little bit, but most of it's true.
Well, I mean, that's sort of what I wanted to ask you. I mean, A, are you okay, being that honest?
Yeah, sure, sure. I'm very open and honest that way. I don't really care.
You don't find yourself ever sort of pulling back, or like, there's got to be
very
certain things that
very rarely do I pull back. If I'm going to say something, I just go ahead and say it.
Well, yeah, I get that impression pretty well from the album. But
Yeah.
I guess, and two, you do mention a fiction side, and how much of it is like straight up storytelling, and how much of it is actually drawn from.
Well, I would say for that song there, I mean, we'll let people dig into it themselves, but definitely the situation of the story is definitely true. I might have exaggerated the fact of it being my friend's wife, or a wife, for instance.
Okay.
It wasn't a wife; it was a divorced mother.
Yeah.
It's a different story.
Totally
She's a
different
single
story.
mom. It's a different story. But yeah, that's basically where the story kind of bends. I kind of exaggerated a bit to make it a little more, just a little, and a little more like, Jesus, his friend's wife? That's a little bad, than other than just some random girl. So I wanted to make the story a little more interesting.
Well, and I mean, it makes it a lot more darker, and it's kind of very Tom Waitsy of you, and that's someone you've been compared to before. How do you do with those type of comparisons? When you get compared to like a Dylan. Or
I'm glad you compared me to Tom Waits this time, because I'm getting really, really tired of hearing Bruce Springsteen all the time.
Yeah.
It's
well,
cool
that song alone, just because of the subject matter.
Yeah.
It's
but
creepy.
It's really cool to be generalized and put next to these big names, because I mean, it's my first record, and to be you guys sound like Bruce Springsteen or Bob Dylan that's pretty pretty impressive.
Were you fans of all those dudes?
I'm huge fans of Bob Dylan and Bruce Springsteen and Tom Petty as well, and my parents brought me up listening to that stuff. My uncles driving me around the car, showing me how to play guitar and showing me all these songs. Actually playing me covers on tapes, cassette tapes of they like them doing the cover of the song before showing me the original one, right? So then later on, when I got older and I actually heard the real version of like Free Falling, and I was like, my uncle's version sucks compared to this. I mean, like, didn't sound anything like this. It didn't sound anything like it. But yeah, I grew up listening to all those guys, so it's good to be put up on that pedestal, but it's actually a little nerve-wracking as well, because I don't want people to expect coming to the show that they're going to get Bruce Springsteen or they're going to get this, I'd rather than just say, taking an example that they sound kind of like them, or like the same style, but I don't want people to put me up that high up there, because then I have to perform to that level as well. I don't want to disappoint.
That's the punk rocker in you.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, now I know you were in a punk band. You were in a metal band as well. Is this true?
Still in the metal
band.
band.
You're still in the crazy metal band.
Yeah.
Isn't there something about hockey equipment and hockey and metal?
There's a video called Rape Whistle.
Yeah. Okay, I've seen this.
Yeah. It's a band called Death Boat. Yeah, we're like a 9-member metal band in costumes. We're not really all pirates. It's kind of like the Village People / like Turbo Negro Village People. Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
kind of thing like that. It's a big mess, it really is. But it's fun to play in. And actually, the Gamic in Montreal asked us to play their show, so we're actually on the 14th. We're playing a one-song extravaganza at the end of the show at the Gamic Awards.
Well, Montreal's like a metal mecca.
Yeah, and they love it. They love it. We haven't played in a while, so it'll be his first show for us. And we jammed for the first time in like 9 months, just the other day. And me and Ryan were just looking at each other like, when did we write this stuff, and how do we play it again? We forget how to play it, and it's hard, man. It's hard to play. We wrote some pretty difficult stuff. There's a lot of screaming and stuff, and the video for Rape Whistle is the song is about those little rape whistles that girls have, and every time we go to approach a girl, she blows the rape whistle. That's what the song's about.
Yeah, I've heard those a lot.
But yeah,
I'm very familiar with that.
The hockey party. It turned out this guy was doing an interview for Vice. Well, he was working for Vice, but the video never made it onto TV for Vice or anything like that. It was just supposed to be an interview, and we fooled him by giving him an address to this park instead of our house. We gave him the address to this park, and he showed up, and we're we were playing hockey in costume, drinking wine at like 11 o'clock in the morning. So he showed up, and then we just started, we brought him into the game and started knocking him around a little bit.
Nice.
And then after that, he came and interviewed us at our jam spot later on that night. There's a drunken interview of us sitting down, and we're all loaded in a room, and like the power blows for like 8 times in a row or something because there's just too many of us with too many amps. And, I think it was like the day of like 190 beers we called it, because we were all completely loaded by the time this guy comes in to do an interview, and we didn't even know what we were even doing. So the interview sucked and never made it on the TV. So, but it was fun.
Okay, so that comes back to my, I guess my question about folk music and sort of what came first for you. I get the impression it was folk.
It kind of was, because I was writing the folk songs acoustically just at home most of the time. But at the same time, I was writing the punk rock songs on my acoustic guitar. So I just didn't have a band for the folk rock stuff. So it was just more of a hobby for me to be at home playing guitar and writing tunes. Where the punk rock stuff, I was actually writing songs because I knew I was going to have to show the band, and my bass player was writing songs, and me and him worked together on writing tunes. With Death Boat, I don't even write half the songs. Like Ryan and my buddy Ben, the bass player, he writes most of the songs musically, and the lyrics we just get drunk and we write them together. That's basically what we do. We call it lyric juice. We get a 2-4, and we sit down, and after a couple of beers, we start like, hey, I got an idea, and then the ideas come to you, man. It's very, for Death Boat, the lyrics are pretty crappy and pretty creative.
Ridiculous,
and ridiculous. So you need to be drunk to do that.
Yeah, but I guess, that formula probably doesn't work for the
sober ones. No, either like, no way, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. And then after a couple of beers, like, all right, I'll say it.
Tour plans. What do you got planned for the next couple of months?
Next couple of months.
The album's been out for a while.
It has. It's been out since March. We did enough touring this year. We did Germany about 4 times. A lot of Europe. We just got back from Australia. We were in Australia for a month, and the whole month of October. So we just returned, and now it's just Quebec and Toronto basically. I have a big show in Montreal on December 4th at L'Astral, which with Anastasia Friedman, which I'm hoping it'll be really, really good. My first time headlining at a big venue like that as well, so it should be pretty fun. After that, it's just Quebec City. I have one on the 18th. I think I have a show with Jason Majada as well in Quebec. But the 18th will be my last show for the year in Quebec City at La Jetée. It'll be my little Christmas extravaganza. And I'm going to throw some Christmas songs to the set there and screw around. Have a good time. Yeah.
Nice. Fairy Tale of New York, maybe?
Maybe. We'll see what happens.
That's my request.
That's your request?
Yeah.
Fairy Tale New York?
Yeah.
All right. We'll try to figure it out.
Try to make it
we also have Christmas on the Road. We might bring Hugo down from Yesterday's Ring in St. Catharines. He might come down and sing that song with us, because we did a song with them for Yesterday's Ring, and I sang on one of their tunes, so I'll get him to come down and sing on one of mine.
Drink whiskey.
Yeah, have a good time.
Cool. Dude.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks
for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Explore Music wears English Laundry apparel.